Let's hit some unpopular opinions.
Okay.
Chris, what you got for us this week?
Music production should be taught in schools alongside like classical band classes.
I actually went to a school that did that.
I had one in high school. They had one class like my senior year that did that, but I think it should be like, I know that's like a magnet school thing, but it should be the norm because like so many kids, you're trying to get them into music. You're doing this like really old school way of playing music in the grand scheme of things. But I feel like if you were teaching like production classes, like how to make a beat or how, how to use a, recording stuff, like they would be because that's what's relevant now, like they and you might hook kids into like this being an artist or at least being around art a little more than just like, here, play this, 1800s piece of music,
Well, no, I disagree a little. Well, no, I agree that they should still have that music production, like modern music, should be a thing in schooling. But I disagree that we should get rid of the classical traditional.
No getting rid of, side by side.
Cool, side by side. Yes,
Both
I
things
agree.
can
Because
exist,
I had,
right?
two things can
like an 8-day, B-day kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like one day you go, because like they teach different skills. Like playing in an ensemble teaches you like how to blend with people.
Exactly.
Like, and there's like a history element. Like it's super important.
Yeah.
But I know that so many people, even when I was in school, like people didn't relate to that. Like they were in band, but it wasn't their thing. They were just kind of there.
But the things that you learn from being in those ensembles and because I would not be the musician I am today if it wasn't for my classical training.
Yeah.
Learning because now, so I spent all that time learning, to sing in Baroque Italian, German, Chinese, Portuguese, Indonesian, Spanish, like literally name it, I've probably sang in it. So all that in Latin, all that time learning all these different languages, it's so prevalent now, and I love that I did it because now I can listen to like my favorite anime song and learn it phonetically perfectly.
Yeah.
Well,
it's interesting too, because if you can translate the words, then you can really get an insight to how the culture understands the world around them.
Yeah, and like how they do poetry too, and like just the music is so different. But also like the school I graduated from Harrison School for the Arts in Jacksonville, Florida, and we actually had basically I didn't make it, but like I took like a free studies class, and we had a composition teacher. And so he taught us how to use like Finale and all that to do to make compositions. And like then at the very end of the year, he would have one class about like music production. So like we'd use GarageBand, and he'd show us how to do that. And I was like, well, can I did piano since I was 5 years old. Like I don't want to take piano. Can I just like have a free study? And then I just take all my classical pieces that I wrote and put it into GarageBand and create like music production, like different sounds. And he was like, yeah, sure. So basically like I would just each week I'd just come on and work on a project, and I'd get to like, take a piece that I wrote in Finale, and then I would like remix it in GarageBand. Like I would add bass and dubstep it, basically put stops and do all that kind of stuff. And as long as I turned something in, he gave me an A. But it was really cool, and I think that there should definitely be more of that. As like I think it would be cool to incorporate it. Like the first semester, do like I said, composition, learning to create the music, learning to write the music, the theory behind the music, and then after you've created it, then take it and put the you can it'd be cool if you can incorporate the like orchestra kids or chorus kids, musical theater, whoever, to have the sheet music, have them sing it, perform it, and you record it and then remix it. You could have so many different classes with that. I think that'd be sick.
And like that's the thing is like you're always working on performance and stuff. Like there's not like a real creativity in that. Other like expression and like how you play the music, sure, that's one thing. But in terms of like blank creation, you get that in like an art class maybe, but like musically, it'd be cool to foster that early on.
Yeah, it's like they'll have like one project that you'll be able to like create something. Like I've had a couple like vocal tech classes or AP music theory or something like that, where like we would have a project where we would have to create a song. But the composition class was probably where like we would do most of the creations.
Yeah.
Everybody said my stuff sounded like Twilight. I was like,
really?
thank you. Yeah.
It's so funny.
And they hated that every single time. They're like, because I always write in a minor key and gave it a picardy third. That was like my touch. That was my signature,
Yeah.
right? And every time I'd make this beautiful, like long minor piece, and then at the end I'd just like, and major one.
Yeah.
And every time, like, they would get so pissed off. They're like, why can't you just leave it minor? Why? And I'm like, because it's got to have a hopeful ending, you know? It's got to,
Interesting.
it's so sad. It's got to have a hopeful ending. And
Yeah.
so I used to, yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think they should.
like,
They
Call
should
me
include
Duval
it.
County. I'm coming.
Call me Duval County. I'm
after,
coming.
After all the shit you've talked about their transit, shit.
Two things can be true.
Yeah.
Your trains can suck and your schools can get better. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's going to be the title of this podcast. Both things can be true.
Two things can be true.
Yeah, two things can be true. Cool. So what you got, Madison, from Popular Opinions?
Can we come back to me?
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Okay, so there's two here that I kind of like, but I'm gonna go with my instinct on here. I think we need to give flat earthers more of a platform because part of my favorite part of the day is going on TikTok and just watching these people just debunk these fucking morons, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
like,
on flat Earth talk.
yeah. Dude, these people are so stupid. I mean, so stupid.
Yeah.
The shit that they say is just
I'm a flat
stupid.
earther. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Case in point.
Case in point. No.
Yeah, no. I can't with these people, dude. But I also want to hear more of it because it's so stupid.
So funny. It's like it's a joke at this point. You know what I mean?
People are making
Not to some people.
yeah, people are making real careers out of this. This one guy named Flat Earth Dave.
How do you
who's
know
a-
they're not trolling?
Flat Earth Dave.
Some of them definitely are, and some of them are not. And then you have some people, and then there's like even famous, like you guys know the rapper B.O.B.
Yeah.
Love him.
He me too. But he is also a flat earther.
No,
he
he's
literally
not.
he literally invested like $200,000. This is like 5 years ago, maybe longer. Like $200,000 into to a satellite, which they don't even believe in, right? To make a satellite to go up into space to prove, which they also don't believe in, right? To prove that the Earth is flat. And I've not seen anything come of that. Here's the other part of it, though, is that a lot of it's not even the idea of the flat Earth so much as it is just we've been lied to about everything. So if we've been lied to about everything, then why would we believe the Earth is round? And they always point to all this ancient stuff. Well, the Egyptians knew the Earth was flat, and I was like, dude, they didn't have technology to like understand
They
things.
wiped their ass with sand, dude. Come on.
It's just, I can't stand these people, but it is really funny to watch actual scientists just level their entire
Yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah, I saw an article that
No pun intended.
real good there.
No,
buddy.
intend that pun. That was freaking hilarious.
You know what? It was intended.
It
Fuck
was
you
intended.
guys.
Yeah.
Dad jokes are back in. Get off my ass.
No, they are.
I saw an article where it was like flat earther thought that the end of the flatness, the end of it was like off the coast of Sicily. So they like sailed off the coast and then were disappointed when they like
Kept going.
found something else after that. I'm like,
No,
just like
I'm pretty positive that's like what Christopher Columbus's thing was like. Whole thing's I can sail around the world. I'm either going to sail around the world or fall off the edge of it. And he thought he sailed all the way around when he got to was it Cuba the first time? I think he was in
the
Cuba.
Caribbean.
Yeah, he was in the Caribbean the first time. And that's why the indigenous people were called Indians because he thought he was in India.
Yeah.
Like he thought he had sailed all the way around and gone to India.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoops. And that's why, yeah.
And but here's the thing. They also believe in the ice wall, which is what keeps
All the
everything
water in.
Yeah. It's like Antarctica is really just a big wall of ice that surrounds the whole flat Earth.
Right.
And then you hear some people where it's more of like an astral plane or something where it's not even physical.
Yeah.
It's just like an energy field, and you're like, okay, dude, then like nothing is real. Then we're all just and it's like then you can make that point, but we live in the physical world, so
I do
physically
think that
it
we're in a
is.
simulation, like 100%.
You think so? I don't know anything about that, to be honest with you.
We can talk about it after the podcast because I got some stories I can tell you.
Yeah.
About like just my experience with certain, just seeing some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not a simulation of like what we understand simulation to be, you know, but like the chance that we're just like on some kid's shelf in a jar. Or like on a speck of dust. Like Horton Hears a Who messed me up as a child. I was like, what a word is a speck on a flower? And, you know, that's a whole universe. But, yeah.
I mean, definitely could be a simulation. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've heard that theory and I haven't
I've
done
heard it's
anything.
like more possible that we are a simulation than we
Than
aren't.
not, yeah.
I heard that's like that. There's a statistical probability that we are more likely to be a simulation than we actually aren't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if that's the case, then it doesn't really matter, I guess, because
Yeah.
we're all still here
No,
existing.
but that's so my unpopular opinion is more of an unpopular theory. I love that you brought up the Egyptians. I think that music and sound, levitation, was way more utilized in the past than it was. If you like, I'm sure you can find videos of like dudes, they'll have like 10 didgeridoos and they're like moving stuff and lifting stuff with it.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, with the help of a didgeridoo-esque type instrument, you know, that we were able to manipulate vibrations and sounds and move stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I've also seen some stuff where like seismologists, I think is what they're called, when they measure the vibrations of the earth and earthquakes and stuff like that. They went to like these ancient ruins, which are like, you go there and it's just like basically like a foundation of a town. And he like brought his machine and like literally like stepping off the foundation to stepping onto the foundation of the sound, the vibrations are completely different. And he's like, you can physically feel the difference in vibrations. And when you zoom out on the foundation of like the town or city, wherever it is, it creates these symmetrical spiral patterns and like these symmetrical patterns that are typically what you see. Like if you pour powder or water or something on a speaker and you hear certain tones and vibrations, it's the same type of symmetrical patterns. So it's like, is it magic? Is it not? What is it? And, you know, so I guess that's my
Unpopular opinion. You
yeah,
believe
the like
that
music, sound is used, sounds and vibrations are used way more in our history.
Yeah, it could be.
Than we think, and that like we talk about.
It definitely could be. I think that you know, the idea of ancient civilizations being more technologically advanced than what we think.
Yeah.
And just using different technologies, that's very possible.
Because obviously, like, you know, if we have a nuclear war and we die out, somebody's going to find a CD and be like, what is this?
Right.
Or they're not going to have the technology to have it, you know?
Or they don't, or just nature eradicates, you
Everything.
know, everything. And there's like only.
It's all buried. You can't find it.
And there's just like very limited access. So you would think that we were also an unevolved civilization because whatever technology we had was just totally eroded and gone after X amount of time. Yep. Then you know, there's this thing down in Miami called Coral Castle, and one guy supposedly built it, and it was built pretty quickly. But these pieces of coral were like huge, and there's like reports. I think this is like back in the 60s. I forget exactly. There's like reports of people seeing him working on the castle just like by himself though, and this thing just seemingly going up like very quickly. And some people have speculated that he said that he used the technology of the Egyptians to make it happen.
It's sound levitation, man. I'm telling you.
It could be. I don't know.
Telling
but then you have depictions in the hieroglyphics that are like, you know, where you see them
they're
working.
blowing on those huge horns. You see it all the time of like them blowing on those big horns.
Right, but it could just be like, you know, war calls or something, you know. Or
I think that it was. I think it was like I think they used different instruments for different things, and I think that like the bigger the instrument that they were playing is like they were moving stuff. And how do you know they weren't using them to like do like big blast shots to the enemy or something? You never know, or like shake the ground beneath them. You know, like the people like the trumpets of Jericho. You know, or is that what it is? The trumpets of Jericho?
Is the walls?
The walls of Jericho
Yeah.
came tumbling down with like the trumpets, right? Like I believe that they could do that. I believe that they could use sound and like to crumble things to the ground.
Oh,
you know?
definitely using sound as defense. We do that today with the military.
Yeah,
you know?
like they'll sit there and like have those big things. Like if you stand behind it, you hear nothing. But if you're
Yeah.
within like 30 yards and within its like range, like you were paralyzed by the sound.
We even did it. Yeah, that's like
I have a screenplay that has those elements in it. Actually.
Oh, really?
I've been writing it for like years.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's also
we'll talk about it one day.
Yeah. There's also like we did like on a much less advanced level where they used like you guys familiar with Noriega, the drug lord in was it like Panama or I forget which one of the Central American countries. Anyways, the CIA used like just like he wouldn't. We invaded. He wouldn't come out of his home, so we like put these big speakers and just blasted heavy metal music.
Oh my God,
out front
so
of his house
dead.
for like I don't know 72 hours or
Oh my
something
God,
until he
I
eventually
can't.
came out and was like, okay, I'm done.
I'm done. I can't.
So it's like sound is definitely
Jokes
still
on
used.
them. I love heavy metal. So
But like coming out of a wall of speakers for like 3 days straight.
I lived with a drummer. I could handle it.
Yeah. It's like, so I definitely think the sound has been used for things over the course of history. I the more angles that I hear, because I try and like listen to the more alternative ideas, of course, but then also I want to keep in mind the mainstream ideas as well, because there's always because every time the alternative side says something about like they just don't want to, it's just this disrupts the status quo,
Yeah.
so that's why they don't want to talk about it. And then you hear what mainstream scientists are saying. It's like, no, we literally have
We had
no
that
proof
theory too,
that
but
that
yeah.
or just we have no proof that thing actually exists, and we have proof to say that this is actually what happened.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't have any evidence that was a thing.
Right.
But
So-
we do have this physical evidence right here. So
Right. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to fully jump on board with some of the theories about that. That being said, it's fun to entertain, and
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take like a real stance on anything when it comes
Yeah.
to that, you know. So I'm just like,
I have a better unpopular opinion. I'm gonna give you two. Okay.
what's that? Yeah.
Ringo Starr is the original punk and one of the world's best drummers.
That's
I will
certainly
die on that
unpopular.
hill.
You can take this one, Anton.
I will die on that hill.
I mean, you know that he didn't even play on those records,
Yes,
right?
he did. You liar. That is. It is.
We can
that
pull
is
up
a
the
lie.
credits.
Yeah,
That is-
Bernard Purdie was on some of those early records.
Okay, some of the early records, but when did they get popular?
Pretty fucking early.
1960. They got popular, like really, like they got known around the world in 1962, and then they came to America in '64, and then that's when they fucking just blew up like crazy.
I think Ringo is one of the best drummers. Watch Dave Grohl talk about Ringo Starr.
Okay, here's what I'll give you about Ringo, and this is like the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. Okay, so Ringo was creative with his ideas in the way that he approached writing on the drums and like writing parts. That being said, there's a reason why Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band have another drummer all the time, right? and like probably some of that is so that he can step away and just like perform, right? But also part of it is like he's very limited in what he can actually do on the drums.
I don't know, man. Like Ringo, just there was something about him. He just was so loose, and
Yeah,
it
very
sounds
loose.
so simple. But no, he never used a metronome. He didn't need
Oh,
one.
I
We could
know,
tell.
Yeah.
No, oh my gosh, no, you
Yeah,
guys.
you're right.
He talks about this and like he didn't like that because he couldn't play to it. That's why, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he didn't need to.
No,
he was
he-
perfect.
He should have.
He was perfect. No, watching him perform though is like, especially early on too. He, like I said, is the original punk. Like he's standing up at his kit, knocking his kit down, like going fucking crazy for do up. I wanna hold your hand.
Yeah.
Like he's going absolutely insane, you know. And he also was like, if you were in London in like the early 50s, probably would have like most likely would have been stabbed by him in an dark alleyway. Like he was a gangster.
Some
He was.
Ringo allegations. up in
No,
here.
he was. No, he was a gangster. He talked about it. Like
Ringo's-
he was like a thug. Like he, you know, and he even talked about it in an interview one time where he was like, yeah, like I don't understand, you know, the whatever they called them, like the pickpockets or whatever they called them these days, because they're sitting there hurting women and children and old people. And he's like, no, like you rob the successful rich man. Like, you leave women and kids out of it. He's like, if we found out that you hurt a woman and kid, like, everybody from every gang would show up and just like absolutely mess you up. You know what I mean? Make sure you never do that again. Like, they were gangs and they were gangsters, but like they had class.
Equality, though, right? Like, if there's rich businesswomen out there that deserve to be robbed from. It's 2023. Please don't be so close-minded.
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't need to be so sexist and close-minded. You're right.
The ethics of thieves.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I do love Ringo Starr.
Love him.
But I don't think he's anywhere near the greatest drummer of all time.
The Beatles wouldn't have been what they were without him. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
He did exactly what he needed to do for the Beatles. You know what I mean? He stayed right there in the pocket. He gave a little bit of oomph, and he did. I don't know. I think that's what makes him such a great drummer. Is like he stayed in the pocket, but also wasn't scared to get out of it and do something cool too.
Yeah.
Make it its own part.
Yeah,
know?
he was creative for sure. For sure.
Sometimes he turned his pocket inside out. It's fine.
Nice.
Sometimes he dropped the pocket. No.